So guys, today I'm going to talk a little bit about sleep and how to improve your sleep and why it's so important for your training. So firstly, we want to consider the important elements that are going to contribute towards getting a good night's sleep. And the first one's going to be your circadian rhythm. So we want to try and synchronize your circadian rhythm the best we possibly can. Now, that's just a fancy way essentially of saying your body's internal clock. So your body has an internal clock which works around the time that you go to sleep each day and the time that you wake up in the morning. So if we can keep these times as consistent as possible, that's going to make it much easier for our body to know and almost be programmed when it's time to sleep and when it's time to wake up. So the first thing I want to do is try and synchronize that the best we can. Now, this doesn't mean to say that you have to go to sleep at 10:30 on the nose each day, and wake up at 7:30 in the morning each day, but it means trying to keep that within at least the same, I would say half hour, 45 minutes is going to be advantageous. So let's say you're usually going to sleep sort of one night around 10 p.m, one night midnight, one night 1 in the morning. Let's try and say, right, let's find a middle ground, which is going to be long enough for you to go about your day, do what you need to do, switch off and go to sleep. So I would say maybe let's set a target for 10:30 or 11 p.m. Now, if you go to bed, half an hour before that one night or half an hour after, it's not going to make a massive difference. But when we've got these massive sort of fluctuations between sleep time, that's going to make it very difficult for your body to know when it needs to switch off. And also couple that with a morning wake time. So, naturally allowing your body to wake up at a specific time is the best way. Or if you are needing to, rely on an alarm, getting an alarm and making sure you're waking up and getting up at the same time each day. One of the worst things you can do is actually snooze your alarm, because in that short period of time between your alarm going off and obviously you actually getting up, say there's a 45-minute or an hour of sort of snoozing, as in snoozing the alarm, we're actually in a very, very light sleep in that time. And, the more light sleep we're getting in and out of that very light sleep, the more that's going to kind of make you feel tired and drowsy upon wake. So firstly, circadian rhythm. Now, secondly, and this is one that I preach to my clients a lot, and it's what we're doing in that evening window. That evening pre-bed window is going to be absolutely paramount in terms of your body's ability to actually switch off, start to produce melatonin, which is the body's sleepy hormone, which is going to be responsible for controlling those stages of sleep. So if we're, very highly stressed, or we're very active cognitively, we're trying to function and work, emails, something that's going to be stimulating the brain, and then we're just trying to switch off and go to sleep, you're not giving your body a chance to switch off and unwind. So that pre-bed window is really important. And these are just a few things that I would recommend you do in that pre-bed window. Now, firstly, it's going to be limiting blue light exposure. So what I mean by that is basically the exposure that you're going to get off things like your phones, TV screens, laptops. That's going to basically contain blue wave exposure. Now, that blue light essentially is going to be hammering our ability to produce melatonin. So what we need to try and do is A, either limit the blue light exposure, or B, if you are accustomed to watching some television in bed before you go to sleep, which I certainly am. I like to watch an episode of Netflix before I go to bed or something like that. Helps me unwind and switch off. But I'm also making sure that I'm wearing blue light blocking glasses. So blue light blocking glasses essentially do exactly what they say on the tin, and they're just going to block out those harmful, blue light stimulation waves, which are going to downregulate or stop our body producing melatonin, or at least make it very difficult. So we're either reducing screen time completely, or we're wearing blue light blocking glasses so that we're not getting those harmful blue waves. Now, couple this as well with just having a good wind down routine. So a bit of light stretching before bed is good, and also it's being scientifically proven that some light static stretching is going to help to promote the ability to move into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also the rest and digest. A hot shower is also great, or a hot bath. The temperature is going to basically promote our muscles to relax, and if we can couple that with some magnesium, so magnesium bath salts are fantastic. That's also going to help the muscles to relax, coupled with the heat, and also that's going to help to promote that sleepy state. So we've got our circadian rhythm aligned. We're limiting our blue light exposure, or we're blocking it out with the blue light blocking glasses. We're having some light stretching and a hot shower or a hot bath coupled with some magnesium. And these are all things that are just going to slowly promote, obviously, getting your body in that position to sleep. Now, a couple more things that we need to consider, and that is managing stress. So obviously stress in that evening window, those final kind of 2 hours before you go to sleep, managing that, of course, and reducing that as much as possible is going to be, our biggest tool here, but also your overall stress in general. So You know, if you've got quite a high amount of stress going on in your life at the moment for different factors, whatever that may be, you know, easier said than done, but obviously getting a good hold on stress is going to be absolutely key in terms of switching off when your body wants to switch off. We also want to try and make sure we're not eating too late towards going to sleep. So if you're having a big meal, you know, just before going to sleep, your digestive system requires a lot of energy to do that, you know, digestive process of breaking food down, absorbing food into the digestional tract. So if we're eating a massive meal just before going to bed, your body's then actually in overdrive trying to digest that food. And that's not going to really promote this kind of rest and relaxation sort of nervous system state that we want to be in order, again, to switch off and go to sleep. So always try and avoid eating too late at night, and that goes for water intake as well, but more so with food intake. And those are pretty much the main factors in terms of what we can do to try and, you know, relax and put your body in that relaxed state. I always say to my clients, anything you need to do to give yourself a cognitive switch off. So some people will do things such as puzzles. I know that some people on prep, when they're really trying to promote their sleep, will do things such as colouring in. Now, I know that might seem more on the extreme level, but what I'm trying to demonstrate here is anything you can do to give you that switch off and give you some mindfulness. So even if that's just watching a series on Netflix where you're not thinking about work, you're not thinking about other things that are going on in life, and you're just able to relax and unwind. And then, of course, goes without saying, training too late as well is a big stress. If you're training just before you're going to sleep, again, we're creating that cortisol response, we're creating that stress response, and that's not going to be conducive towards a good night's sleep. So quite a few different things there to digest. Now, we don't have to nail every single one of those. So we don't have to be doing light stretching every night, having a hot magnesium bath, you know, all of these factors. They are just some things that you can look to implement and start to piece together your own evening routine. So just to kind of round everything up there, we're trying to make sure we're getting a good circadian rhythm and alignment. So we're going to bed at a similar sort of time, waking up at a similar sort of time. We're limiting blue light exposure. So either not utilising screens or more commonly just wearing the blue light blocking glasses. We're not eating too late or drinking too much water too late just before going to sleep. We're not training too late and therefore creating that stress response. And we're also having some time to relax and unwind and do whatever you need to do just to get that cognitive and mental switch off. Some light stretching, a hot bath or shower with magnesium bath salts is great as well if we can look to add those in. And that's pretty much it in terms of how we can look to promote our sleep. Now, there is, of course, supplements and things like that we can look to utilize as well. Things such as magnesium, things such as zinc, things such as melatonin. These are all great supplements, and these are all going to help to promote those deeper stages of sleep and REM. But if we're not nailing these fundamentals, supplements are going to do absolutely nothing. So my advice into improving your sleep would be to really look to nail those fundamentals first, get those in a really good place, get your sleep structure nailed, and then we can look to add supplements, you know, on top of that to help promote that. So that's sleep wrapped up in a nutshell, guys. Obviously quite a complex one. So any questions, any feedback, anything you want to know, feel free to drop a message, and we'll see you in the next one.